my beautiful baby daughter. Welcome to Board Talk.
Never surrender.
Alright, so my choice for favorite comic book villain is DC's Reverse Flash, aka Professor Zoom, Eobard Thawne. He travels back in time and already knows everything in the Flash's, timeline. Everything that is the Flash has been chronicled, through history, so he already knows everything about the Flash when he goes back.
He's, responsible for Flashpoint, kind of?
He is. He is responsible for almost everything in the Flash's existence.
You killed Nora Allen.
He's the one that goes back in time, and when Barry Allen is a young child and sees his mother being killed in his house, and just it looks like a hurricane of, red and yellow lightning, that's actually Zoom and the Flash having come back in time to try to save his mother fighting, and that's what Barry sees.
You love time travel.
I do love time travel. Time travel is one of the coolest concepts to me. It's a movie from Spain, so it's subtitle. It's time. Yes. That is one of the best time travel movies that I've ever seen in my entire life.
My favorite comic book villain I picked was Grant Morrison's Darkseid.
I am death. I am Darkseid.
What are Darkseid's powers, though? Because I know what Darkseid looks like.
One of his main powers, other than being invulnerable, having incredible strength, is called the Omega Beam. When Darkseid sets it upon you, you cannot escape it. Travel as fast as you can, travel back in time, whatever. The Omega Beam will find you and kill you.
Actually, I wanted to talk about Ninja Turtles as well.
Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power.
Well, the Eastman comics that were before the cartoon, the turtles were dark.
Here's a fact. I don't know if you know this, being a Marvel fan, but you know the goo that makes the turtles?
The mutagens.
Yeah. You know what character of DC Universe, Marvel Universe, it hit before coming down on the turtles?
No.
Matthew Murdock.
Pizza dude's got 30 seconds.
He's a really good villain because in the comic books, actually, the villain is Splinter.
Cowabunga.
I like that Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince was the voice of Shredder in the animated series.
I think he did it just to annoy me. We are a family.
Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down.
I narrow it down to fun with friends, and distant friends in this case. And that is Borderlands 2. It's so much fun.
That is a great one, because for those of you who don't know at the home, and just hijack kids for a second, is that game, when you kill somebody, they drop completely random crazy loot. So for mine, I had a couple ones just like you, like everybody who plays video games. There's a handful of them that are really endearing. To touch on those, of course, GoldenEye, Mario Kart for the Nintendo 64. But my personal, I had two personal ones, but Ultima Online is the one that I'm going to choose here. The thing that made this game so endearing, other than playing with all my friends from around the neighborhood and stuff, was the fact that it was the first, so there was a Wild West of MMORPGs, so there was no rules. When you murdered somebody, other opposing players, you could take everything. And so what this did was create this atmosphere of just chaotic murder. We're the reason why games have rules now in multiple places. Because we would sit outside of dungeons hidden, because there was an actual spell hide where you just stay invisible if you don't move. And people would walk out after 15 hours in the hardest dungeon in the game. And 20 of us would swarm on them and take all that shit, all of it. And it was so great. And they would be crying with their letters over their name. Yeah, whatever. It was the worst. We were the worst.
You're a garbage person.
Yeah, that's kind of
I don't know what other word to use to describe you.
That's kind of villainous. I like to change my villain to you and your character from Ultimate.
I'll kick it over to Oz now after that spiel about that game.
Alright, so my favorite multiplayer game is all the way back in 2000 for the Sega Dreamcast, and it's Power Stone 2.
Oh!
Sega! Go!
Love Power Stone.
Okay.
Love Power Stone. Like interactive, like arenas. The second game, you had like 4-player like battles going on. It was like Smash Brothers, where like crates would drop, and you could have like weapons and power-ups and vehicles that would attack people, all kinds of stuff. But it was, it was a Sega game. It was made by Capcom on the Dreamcast, so everything was like anime looking. Like your main character's like a boxer for some reason, like
Tekken.
You win.
Tekken was so fun. Tekken had like, a kangaroo, a bear, play with a
the
bear,
like wooden block guy with punching.
crazy. Like, is it really just like, what can we do that's weird, and they'll just throw people for a loop, right? Any other games that touched your heart?
I know, like
Fusion Frenzy.
Yeah.
On the original Xbox. Fusion Frenzy was like Power Stone, but it was, you had like 6 characters to choose from, and it was all like American Gladiator style, like co-op battle stuff.
Oh, cool.
So there's one level where you're literally in like the spheres, like in the American Gladiator game. And you have to like run around the map and try to collect as many points like in the little pods.
Did you guys play the Beastmaster?
Yeah,
It was
it was
Alter Beast. Yeah, Alter Beast. Thank you. Sorry.
Rise from your graves.
Rise from your grave.
yeah, I had like the biggest chest over.
Yeah, that game was great.
You're like the werewolf. How would the werewolf punch fireballs?
What was that game where you're in the neighborhood with your siblings? It's like a neighborhood. You got like squirt guns and you're fighting like monsters.
Zombies ate my neighbors. That shit's
Zombies
amazing.
Ate My Neighbors. That was on the Genesis.
And that's also a really good multiplayer.
That is a great multiplayer. You can play that game all day and have a blast.
I used to play multiplayer games like in the arcades. Like arcades were super big and popular when we were younger. And all that stuff. Like every city had
My
arcades.
grandparents would go to Atlantic City and they would drop us off in an arcade with like $20 each, and then just go gamble. And we'd stay there for like the whole night until like 2 in the morning, like little like teenage rats, playing X-Men.
Yeah, well, that's what we used to play, the 6-player X-Men game that has like the old, like, it's got Dazzler and Nightcrawler and all that stuff.
So my thoughts on the season generally were, it was okay. There were parts of this season that I really loved, and I know the criticisms about pacing. Obviously, they put a lot more budget into action sequences and less about the story. You could clearly tell that the writing in the books, after they got past the books, the dialogue has become a lot more TV-ish.
Men without cocks. You wouldn't find me fighting in an army if I had no cock. Maybe it really is all cocks in the end.
And less George R.R. Martin-ish, which was like incredible.
I can't stand the wailing of women.
One word, and I hit you again.
I'm telling Mother.
There's not a lot of that this season, right? There was, though, the greatest dragon sequence I've ever seen on cinema in any form.
Incest wrong in season 1, everybody behind incest in like the last season.
He is the prince that was promised.
That's nasty. I made a bunny.
On the half shell, they're the heroes for. In this day and age, who could ask for more? The crime wave is high.